Happy Friday, everybody. In this video, we're going to look at some MicroStrategy news. We're going to look at a catalyst happening for CleanSpark starting next week, next trading week on Monday. CleanSpark is joining an index starting Monday. We're going to talk about that. And there's a budget neutral way for the US to acquire Bitcoin, and let's look at it. Bo Hines, the executive director of the Presidential Council of Advisors on Digital Assets, was explaining a potential way the US could use a budget-neutral strategy to acquire Bitcoin. And in a recent Crypto in America episode, a journalist, Eleanor Terrett, asked Bo Hines for a specific example of a budget-neutral approach. He pointed to Senator Cynthia Lummis and her Bitcoin Act, and he talked about how we could realize the gains off of certain gold certificates, but they are exploring multiple strategies. He was also asked if we could potentially sell gold at Fort Knox in return for Bitcoin. His answer was if such a move remained budget-neutral and did not burden taxpayers, it could be considered. They're clearly still looking for options. They don't have anything definitive yet. And I quote, "I don't want to box us in yet to what that actually looks like because I want to be able to hear from everybody." He was also asked why the altcoins that were listed, why Ethereum, why XRP, Cardano, Solana, and he basically cited their large market caps. We still want to welcome and encourage innovation across many ecosystems. Now, as many of you know, recently we've been seeing inflows come back from the spot Bitcoin ETFs after a long period of outflows. And I'll leave this article down below for you, but what I really wanted to look at here was the hash ribbons. And here's a picture of it here. This hash ribbon is in capitulation. It doesn't happen very often. It happened in the Mt. Gox sphere. Gave you a buy point pretty much right around when Bitcoin hit 49K. It was also marked in July on this pullback here. And again in late 2023, another capitulation and buy point. While we're at capitulation now, the buy point is likely not far away. This indicator is not in the habit of giving false signals, as said here. If we look at the entirety of the bull market so far, the hash ribbons has given 3 great buy signals. It might be argued that price can dip close to after the buy signal, right around that time, maybe a little after. But as can be seen, the bottom was in within a week or two of each signal. Now, looking at the current signal, it can be noted that the capitulation circle is there, as we see here. The capitulation phase is still ongoing. There could be some more downside to come. Now, while it remains to be seen how long this can continue, if the buy signal does appear, be ready for a big bounce. Now, we'll look at Bitcoin in a second here, but I also want to talk about some MicroStrategy news. They're upping their Strife offering from 500 million to 723 million. And on Tuesday, it was announced to be 500 million. We have recent news that they upped it. They want more to buy more Bitcoin. Now, they expect the sale of this stock to settle on March 25, and they plan to use the vast majority of these proceeds to buy more Bitcoin. Next week, MicroStrategy is going to hit over 500,000 Bitcoin. Not too long from now, and they will be sitting at 1 million Bitcoin. They're only going to accumulate and acquire more. Now, looking at MicroStrategy, I want to show you guys the weekly, and this is the 50 MA, this yellow squiggly line here. In our Mt. Gox sphere, when Bitcoin ran down to 49K, this moving average, this EMA, was held up. We are trying to hold it up still to this day. And while the MACD looks like we have a lot of downside still, before we bottom out, the daily is looking a lot more positive. And MicroStrategy has been trying to recover for about a month now. One thing I'm watching is this descending resistance. If we find it as resistance again, we are likely to come down and test previous levels. Now, I got rid of the EMAs on the daily and put the moving averages, the 50 and the 200. This is something that MicroStrategy has bounced off of, the 200, multiple times. Here's the Mt. Gox pullback. We bounced off of the 200 MA, and we did it again. So the 200 MA will be a very important indicator to watch if we come down and retest it. But you know, in the end, MicroStrategy is going to follow along with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin falls more, MicroStrategy is going to retest this 200 MA. And the same goes for the miners, obviously. If Bitcoin keeps pulling back, the Bitcoin miners are going to take even more. During good times, the Bitcoin miners will outperform Bitcoin. During the bad times, they will outperform to the downside. Now, we do have some news that is going to hit CleanSpark on Monday. CleanSpark is joining the S&P 600 small cap index. And CleanSpark has been having a rough time. We're back to the prices we were at about a year ago. And from this cycle, Bitcoin is outperforming it still. CleanSpark is only up 322% from the bear market low, whereas Bitcoin's up about 400%. We're at a pretty important point. We have bounced off of this area before. We have found this as a resistance before until breaking out of it and seeing a run after trying to establish as a support and running. And we have done this last cycle as well. Now, it's been a support at certain times. A break of the support brings a big reaction, and holding as a support, we got a huge bounce. This is a place that has been reacted to many, many times. I do think it'll be very important that we hold this general zone. When you see it fail to become a support, we do get a reaction and sell off. Now we do have some positive news. CleanSpark has filled its gap finally. A long-standing gap that's been a gap for over a year now has finally been filled. Just like with MicroStrategy, we have a descending resistance to keep an eye on. CleanSpark needs to break this downtrend. We hit $17 in November of 2024, and it's been basically selling off ever since. CleanSpark did see a profitable quarter in their last earnings, along with a few others, and CleanSpark's also guiding for a profitable quarter and a big growth in revenue in our upcoming earnings, which that quarter ends at the end of March. All right, I got to show you guys something really interesting with Bitcoin. This has been a trend for over 10 years, okay? 10 years, and actually longer. Look at this long-standing trend from all the way back when Bitcoin was $60 or something. We have been following this trend for over a decade. We're talking over 10 years. Bitcoin has been following this trend, has never broken it. We came down and tested it at 15K in the bear market low. You could also argue that we tested it at about 25K back in October of 2023. Look at where Bitcoin has gone in the last 10 years. Do you think this is going to stop? How can you look at this on the long term and be bearish? And here's another trend from our bear market low. This is slightly different than that 10-year trend, slightly adjusted, but you can see how the general direction goes. We have been just going up and to the right pretty much since we're at 15K. There were pullbacks along the way, but look at what Bitcoin has done. It's just been going up and to the right. There are going to be pullbacks, like here, like the Mt. Gox. I mean, this wasn't that long ago. We dropped 33%, and we recovered massively and went to new all-time highs. And here we are in this pullback about 30%. Now it's only 24-ish%. The bottom might be in, the bottom might not be in. But if we do pull back, I do see it as a buying opportunity. But what say you guys? What do you think about MicroStrategy planning to acquire more Bitcoin, finally hitting over 500,000 Bitcoin held? God, I need more coffee. What do you think about the spot Bitcoin ETF seeing inflows lately and the hash ribbons getting close to signaling buy? We have been in capitulation. Typically what comes after is a buy signal. It's coming soon. And how are you feeling about the Fed's recent change in QT, going from running off 25 billion to only running off 5 billion? We know what comes later is QE. But we are not there yet, despite what some people have been saying. And also, what do you think about this long-standing trend for Bitcoin? Have you guys been aware of that? Bitcoin has been following a trend for over 10 years, for most of its lifetime. And while, of course, that trend one day can be broken, it proves a point that if you are long on Bitcoin, if you take your time, if you buy during the bad times, you will be rewarded. And I do believe this is another instance of that. But thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll see you soon.